Race fans and others, and a special welcome to all you Dakarites, those lovers of cross-country racing and Dakar. Welcome to Raceday. I'm Colin.
I'm Clifford, and yeah, here we are, eh?
Another
Chrono
day,
stage.
Sunday, we made it through the day. Today, at least, there was racing. There was proper racing. The deserts came alive. How should we put them? The sandbaggers. The
Yeah.
strategists from yesterday came out firing on all cylinders. There was dust all over the desert. It was quite magnificent. But as per usual, we've got two guests tonight. Yesterday, you challenged me to bring
Well, I didn't
an
challenge you,
expert.
but you did throw it out there saying you would organize. So I just wanted to see what you can do, but you delivered.
I think we've got a super expert a little bit later in the show to talk to us about torque meters and BOPing and all that other stuff. But he really is an expert. And then we've got Terence Marsh joining us from Saudi because, of course, now today everybody's out of the bivouac.
Yeah.
They are in the bush, in the desert, having a sleep. Or trying to get to sleep in the cold and the wind. So Terence has kindly offered to talk to us, so we're going to talk to him in a couple of minutes' time. First of all, my apologies.
There we go.
I said apologies, I meant my apology, only one.
Oh, holy.
I only have one apology to give. To Freddie van der Merwe, you asked about, do the organisers get a little bit upset when we highlight the South Africans? I misinterpreted it a little bit. I'm sorry I snapped at you. I promise I won't do it again.
Yeah, that ruffled your feathers a little bit. I haven't seen you get angry since the last time someone cheated against you at shuffleboard at the retirement village.
Sorry, I don't speak gunk. But guys, we've got a full show program we need to follow up. So we're starting again with the cars again?
Yeah.
Because they're the most important. That's the reason why you have Dakar.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, sure, fire away.
Okay, so are we going to go straight? Oh, the best news ever was early this morning, waking up and seeing that the 10-minute penalty for Henk and Brett Cummings was rescinded. Apparently what happened, from what I can read on the document, and again it's translated from French thought to French to English to my brain, so they might be lost in translation. Effectively, they went past the end of a speeding zone, a 50-kilometer-hour speeding zone. Henk drilled it, and the FIAs thought they were still in the speed zone, so it gave them all of that penalty. But on evaluation of the data, they rescinded it, so that's all good. That's fantastic. So the guys come out fighting hard and racing like you can't believe. The sand riders were riding. The Toyotas were just flat out. Even the Minis were right up there. Fords were running really spectacular until Carlos went off the edge of a dune. And thank you very much for all of those who kindly sent us the pictures with permission to use them. So we've got a couple of pictures. That's the end result after they got the car. There's a lovely one that's upside down. Ron, if you'll show us that one. And I think that just the upside down one. The beauty of seeing something like this, nobody was hurt. They carried on a little bit, and he's lost a whole lot of time, but they're all in bivouac or break point 5. But looking at the underneath of that car, you can see how nice and smooth it is with the little air vents to get cold air in and let hot air out. So that's what we don't very often see, the underside of it totally. That's a brand new latest generation of car. Look how it's almost like a boat with just behind the front wheels or the top wheels. Sorry for the little giggle. It's rounded so that it doesn't dig into the sand, and it can ride the sand properly even though it's a Ford. Also, he still wins the prize. The Fords all do. They win the prize for the finest sound. Just turn your volume up, and in 3, 2, and a little bit, we're going to play you some sound. Listen to this. I get the shivers, and it sounds like that make me feel alive. Now you'll see in the picture behind us, the WCT Amarok has also got the Ford V8 engine, which we're just going for normally aspirated motors. And Terence is going to join us a little bit now, and we'll talk to him about that. So Schroeder they stopped and had a major issue with some wires that weren't wiring, lost about 4.5 hours, eventually got them going. Giniel came out with a super strong, clever drive, as did Henk and Guy Bottrell. So the Toyotas were really strong. Great fight at the front with Al Rajhi and Nasser. When it was sandy, the Sand Riders would pull away. Dacia Sand Rider, he would get going. And when it got rougher, then Al Rajhi had the upper hand. And Ekstrom was the quickest of the Fords. He's finished in 3rd position. And interesting, from what we can see on the speeds and the gaps from today, it looks like when they get into the big dunes, the Ford and the Sand Riders, Dacia, are really good. When it gets rocky and flat and straight, that nothing touches the Toyota. Guy Bottrell, I think we've just quickly run through some results there, Ruan. Guy Bottrell coming in and Dennis Murphy coming in 6th. Bryce Sunderland 7th. Bikers, I mean, really, really good. Nanny Roma in 8th. Giniel still, I've got him on for a podium. And then the 7th of the South African cars in the top 10 was Matthew Tseradori in the Century. Brian Baragwanath is in 13th, Loeb 17th, and King Carlos has lost an hour, down in 25th position. But it's halfway. They are actually, of these 1,000-odd kilometers. We've got a lovely map there, Ron, if you can put that up. And they're in the bottom sort of right-hand corner there, you'll see their BPE, or breakpoint 5. That's where most of them are, all the top riders. So they've got about a 300 and something K blast back to Bischoff tomorrow for the stage. We're not going to discuss the overall results in the cars because we don't know. This is like stages interruptus. We in the middle of the stage, we've got an idea of who got to that point, and we're going to talk to Terence about some of the stuff that he noticed.
Yeah, I feel like
but
it's
quickly,
dangerous.
talk about some bikes.
Commentators curse, so yeah, I don't want to also dwell too much on the results, but Daniel Sanders, Brabeck, Ross Branch, that's basically your top 3. They were riding together for most of the day. So they're just sort of keeping it clean, making sure that no one gets lost, and then making sure that they've gotten all to the breakpoint E. So yeah, it's been pretty good for them. Star of the day was Michael Doherty. So Rally 2 man coming out, well, so far, and he's sitting in 6th place, and fastest Rally 2 guy. Edgar Canet is also in the top 10, just behind him. But the two Rally 2 riders are showing their skills nice and early. But I believe our guest is in the house, so should we break over to that quickly?
Well, let's just, without further ado, directly from the palace in Saudi Arabia, Terence Marsh, thank you very much for taking time out and having a chat with us. Welcome to Raceday.
Thanks, Carl. Absolute pleasure, man. We don't really have a busy night tonight, so it's not as if I had anything else to do.
Your cars are away. What does the crew do tonight? They must be lost.
Yeah, we've had a pretty chill day. We went out to the service point, so about 160 k's into the route. We had a very much, I think you guys would have followed like a Formula One a service point. So that was quite nice to get out of the bivouac and get some action. Very nice to see, you think it was probably maybe a kilometer long of all these trucks and cars coming through this one long pit lane and changing tires and whatever else work needed to be done. That was quite something new for us at the Dakar, and it was quite nice. It was well received, and the guys enjoyed it. And then obviously we made our way back, and then most of the days really been around again prepping the truck. You'll forever clean your pit area, And every night's been a sandstorm since we've been here, so there's lots of cleaning up that happens, and obviously organizing and packing the truck and getting ourselves ready for the next couple of days.
Your car's all running okay? Are you satisfied at the moment? I think you've got one retirement.
Yeah, at this stage, I mean, a good day today. I mean, everybody's got where they needed to get to, or where their targets were. So that, and we don't have a lot of feedback. We've got a couple of feedbacks via satellite phones, and everything seems to be good. Ronald van Leeuwen, one of the Dutch customers, is a little sick. But generally, mechanically, we seem to be strong. Yeah, we lost one yesterday in the first stage, and very unfortunate. The navigator was deemed to be not well, and medically they wouldn't allow him to start this morning. And the problem is it looks like a bit of an injury, not sure. But they basically grounded him for 5 days, and I think you're aware that you can miss 3 stages, and get yourself in to continue. You wouldn't be on the finishing, but you could continue to experience the event, or what they call the Dakar experience. But unfortunately, with him being medically for 5 days, they've had to withdraw after the first stage, which is really, really cruel. That hurts. That's out of their control. But all that, the whole year's worth of planning, the operational that it's involved, and all of that to end in one day is really.
Motor racing can be really, really hard, Terence?
No, that's cruel. That's really cruel. And I mean, there's nothing more. I mean, I always say this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And yet Jens is so attractive, yet so attractive to everybody. Everybody wants to be here. It's an incredible experience. It's unbelievable, but cheap as it's tough. It's ugly. It's nasty, and but somehow everybody wants to always.
Terence, quickly going back to that pit stop area. Gave you quite a nice chance to see everybody else out in the wild, not tucked away in their tents and pit areas. Some of your comments about it, the level of, could we call it resources between some of the factory teams and, the privateer teams?
Yeah, I mean, Carl, one of the biggest things, and I see this more every year. This is my 12th Dakar now, and every year it's nicer to see more of the factories getting involved, and the size and the magnitude, but the gap just gets bigger between, let's call it, us privateer businesses we by no means small when we're out here. We collectively, I think we have 60 people here between the 6 teams, a significant amount of knowledge and experience. But we really are. It's incredible how big these guys from the manufacturers, the size, the amount of trucks, the amount of people, the engineers, the technicians, and masseuses, the motorhomes. It's just, you have to see it to believe it. It is really, really at another, And it's nice for the amateurs to play with the pros, but it's getting bigger. And unfortunately, it's the financial gaps. And I've never been a fan of what I refer to as checkbook racing, but this is the highest level of, this is one in rally raid.
Yeah.
The highest level. But you've got to be very, very. Sorry.
We've got some delays, but it's almost like taking your club racing car at Swartkorps and going to race it in a Formula One race.
Yeah, I mean, I try and use different analogies, but I never want to be disrespectful to the guys, But you kind of feel like a regional guy at a massive national event, We're obviously very proud to be at it, and it's great. But when you walk around and you look at, who you're up against and who your neighbors are and who you're competing, it's really fantastic on one side, but cheap as it's intimidating on the other when you see, what these guys have got. It's very impressive. It really is. We're blessed to see it, but I wish I could explain, you see the amount of trucks, the infrastructure, the resources, the money. It's incredible.
I think, Terence, that you can be incredibly proud of 60 people is by no means a small operation. And the fact that you've managed to put together the number of cars that you have to this event, and I think it's absolutely magnificent. And there's the scope, the scale from right at the top through to the, shall we call it, the lowest budget. Every single man person who has starts this race and even works on it it's massive respect to everybody. Really, hats
Yeah,
off.
no, thanks on it. As I said, in many ways we're very proud, but there's some days you wake up and you wonder whether you've bitten off more than you can chew. You know, you have some days like that, and then that's the Dakar. Then there's other days you think you really can play at this level.
What's the weirdest, craziest thing you've seen there?
I don't know what weirdest would be. That's quite a tough one. One of the observations that I have noticed that over the last couple of years is just how much more woman representation is. You know, if I thought about 2-3 years ago, to run into a lady or a female was quite quite unusual. You know, you could probably count them in one hand in the Dakar. And I'm going back obviously 12 years. I think the first one I went to was in 2004. But today it's I'm open to correction, but it could be 30% now. And it's between drivers, navigators, assistants. I don't know about engineering as such and technical, but it really is impressive to see. And that's probably the biggest observation that I've had. Weirdest would have probably been something on that. There's some really wonderful Dakar classics. When you walk around the pits and you see some of those cars, that really puts a smile on your face,
And talking about comings and goings, this morning we saw a picture of your breakfast. It didn't look so good. That's with your traditional review of the food and then the going part of the food, the download station.
The dispatch area, the distribution area. The food's it's average. It's quite disappointing in a way because I think a couple of years ago they got it right and it was pretty good. And I know it was a South African supplier then. I'm not sure who they use now. Last year wasn't too impressive either, average to say the least. And I kind of feel the same this year. It's not bad by no means. I mean, they're feeding. I think it's 9,000 meals a day that they're serving. So it's a challenge. But it's for me it's average. I've seen better in Dakars, so then they haven't put their best foot forward on the catering side. On the distribution or dispatch side, that they actually have got better over the years. So for those that don't have are not fortunate enough to be in a camper, you can get a decent hot shower and it's got some decent space. Let's call it the download area it's a lot more functional than it used to be, but the cubicles are small, so for us taller kind of guys, it's a tough one. Our knees are against the door, and for the bigger guys, you can basically just fit in. So I don't think you can't spend much time there, if that makes sense.
Well, it's not a social occasion. Well, one hopes.
Yeah, and then of course you got it's one ply as well. So if you like the comforts, which I do sometimes, then you got to bring your own 2-ply.
I thought you would have been on 3-ply by now, Terence.
No, with our budgets, I'm afraid we can't afford that. When you have a look at what we're paying for fuel and for tires, you do well to get 2-ply.
Yeah, Terence, your information that you send through, you see the growth of it. You're becoming a media mogul as well with the number of subscribers you've got to your channels. Absolutely fantastic. Terence, I just want to say thank you very much for taking time out, spending some time with us. We hope to talk to you a little bit later during the event when things start settling down and we can start getting an idea of who's who in the zoo and once it starts playing out.
It's
interesting.
It's quite difficult now. Today was the first day, what I call moving day. So you can get a little idea of where it's going to. Tomorrow will give you a lot more. I think you said earlier on, it's not a lot you can talk about now. You've got to see at the end of tomorrow. And then, stage 3 and then stage 4 straight back into a marathon stage, So they really, really have set it up. The toughest first week I can recall, but towards the end of this first week is, I think, the first time that you'll start being able to map out where it's going.
Now, if you had to put a small wager on the podium, who would you put there?
I'm a big Henk LATEGAN fan, and he got his penalty reversed today, and you know, outside of that, he's just a really nice guy. So I'd like to see him on the podium, you know. I've always been a Loeb fan, and obviously would love to see him get the monkey off his back and get himself a win. But he had some troubles today. Yeah, so the Dacias and the Fords, you know, lots of new things there. So a couple of flags, which make it difficult. The Toyotas are here in their masses. So their numbers will make a difference. There's no doubt about it. It'll make an impact. But yeah, I'd really like to see Henk. I was very impressed with Guy last year, and I think he's going to build on that, you know. Brian has certainly got the pace. If he can spring the stages together, you know, he's quite capable of getting into the top 10. But Colin, the one thing this year that it's incredible is that if you read from 1 to 30 of the seeded, you almost wonder how anybody gets into the top 30. I mean, the field is unbelievable. So to try and, it's the most open, you know, with Peter Hansel not here, Science losing an hour today. You know, maybe that narrows it down a little bit more, but when you narrow it down, you can still put 10 to 15 people on there as potential winners, you know. So it's probably the toughest one to call at this stage. New engines, new cars. Yeah, there's definitely no outright favorite that I could do.
You know, even to finish a stage in the top 20 is a mega achievement as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, someone asked me earlier today, and I said, you know, a top 10 3 years ago is a top 20 now. That's the reality. You know, if we look at, we call them trains, and whereas if we look at our customers who are privateers, you know, is his train between 40 and 50? Is his train between 30 and 40? You know, that's kind of where his operating window will be. And then we try and move him up on as we come through with reliability and things like that. But all those trains or those groupings are all moved out by groups of 10 this year, just because, you know, you just take some time and look at the entry list, and it'll blow your mind when you see the list of names there, you know. And even with my customers, we sit down with them when he looks where he qualified, and you have a look and say, well, just have a look at the names ahead of you. So yeah, a top 10 is now a top 20. Anybody get into the top 20 is serious.
Where do you think your top car will finish?
You know, Alia was 24th. She's only 20 years old, and she set a record last year, finishing at the 19 and the youngest ever. So she'd probably be the highest. She was 24th last year. I see we've worked a lot of development on her car together with them. Bagheera, they spent a lot of time and mileage and money on development, and together with herself, she does a lot of training. And I would like to think that she could probably, you know, it's so hard, Colin. You know, if I think a good result will be back in the 20s, taking account the entry list, as I said. So probably back into between, you know, a great result would be breaking into the late teens. A good result will be back in the low 20s. But, you know, there's so far to go. There's so many curveballs. I mean, you could be out tomorrow within the first 100 Ks. It's crazy, this place. So
I know it was a little bit unfair to put you on the spot there, Terence, but you know that any time you come to talk to us, we've got to ask the difficult ones.
No, look, it's, again, if everything played out the way we want it to be, that's what we would forecast. We all have targets, and we try and move towards those targets. But the Dakar, I mean, it's you need 100 meters to crash. You need, you saw Carlos today, you need 1 June to misread. So there's just so many factors. You know, what makes this race so special is there's just so many factors. So first you got to finish, and then once you finish, you know, how high can you finish? So yeah, in the perfect worlds, that's what we would chase, and realistically what we're capable of. But yeah, there's 3.5 million factors between now and then.
Well, hope you can keep all the cats herded properly, Terence. Keep the cars running. Keep smiling. We'll talk to you in a couple of days' time.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Terence. Cheers. He's a bit lost at the moment because his normal hectic, busy pits and all of that is not, it's not happening.
Yeah, but short-lived, because from now until the end, it's going to be go, go, go.
You know, they're going to make up for it.
Rest day is no rest day for them. So, yeah, from now, it's going to be flat out right till the end. So, Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, he's resting now, but I think he must take advantage of the time because as we push further on, I think they're going to be feeling it for sure.
Yeah. Remember, you can send us some questions, comments, queries, suggestions as they come in. Shall we tackle the first wave of these?
Yeah, so Robbie Kutsia, which is part of some crew inside, he says we've been prepping and packing the truck every day. So yeah, that's what they do to keep themselves busy.
But
like,
go,
like,
Robbie.
Yeah, like
and
Terence
sweeping.
says, yeah, just to go and see the waypoints or go out and assist is a 160-kilometer drive. It's not just down the road to the shops, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Andrew Spark, Cass Kruger, they were waiting in anticipation. Were we late? 1923-ish.
I think it qualifies within the ish part of
Okay,
1923.
fair enough. Johan Grobler, good evening all. A couple of guys sound check here. We did do our sound check today. Actually, we were on time for a change for our sound check, so that's a win for us.
The technical department, we've got a call sheet and we got to be in different places and we made it on time.
Skull Kluter. Hi, Colin and Biker Dude. These guys just now hurt my feelings. Great to see you back at the Dakar show. DBAC. That's and we did discuss this after the show. That's your thing after the show there. Mine is finger guns. Yours is
DBAC.
Yeah,
and somebody asked what it is, and might I suggest, may I, that Google is your friend.
Yeah, I'd say let's leave it there. Otherwise, there'll be an apology for you tomorrow. Johan Grobler,
You can't say that.
Schroeder, and Chrono Amarok GTR updates. Anything? Have you got anything on
Yes,
them?
I have. They are at, I think it's Break Camp 2. Might even be Break Camp 1. They're at really early on in the break camps. They lost 4.5 hour-ish. There was a technical problem, and it's one of those things, and I'm not trying to avoid answering your question. I'm not sure how to answer it. Enough to say that the pistons weren't pissing and the injectors weren't injecting and the ignition wasn't igniting. They managed to find out a whole lot of things. It seemed to be some form of an electrical issue. They got the car moving again and they made it to service. While we're busy talking, I was just wanting to look and see the amount of time that they lost, but it was significant while they were waiting and trying to diagnose what exactly the problems were. And they couldn't make phone calls because that would have given them massive penalties. So they do have a bit of a problem at the moment from a timing point of view.
Then Cass Kruger, she says here, seems like the dunes are signs as Achilles heel. If memory serves me correct, he did the same in 2023 with the Audi. Yeah, I don't think Sainz is feeling too great today. But
they got the car running again. He lost 30-odd minutes. He's in the same brake area, service area as his teammates. That's number 5.
Yeah, but where do you make up 30 minutes? Like Terence says, the grid is so stacked, you know.
I've seen Giniel de Villiers get onto a podium and he was 2.5 hours behind.
True, yeah. Stranger things have happened, so yeah,
Yep.
fair enough.
Patience, young Padawan.
Dickie Carson's VW runs the Nissan engine and not the Ford engine as just mentioned. That's the reason why it's
correct.
not
You're
a
right.
VW
Thank
recognized
you.
car. Could be my mistake. Colin apologized. I'm quite
Excuse
impressed
me,
with you.
I apologize for getting the motor wrong. The Datsun Ford.
Yuri Jordan is happy that Sainz can still go on with the race. This is obviously for you, Mark Richard Berger. Hello, old man. That's obviously aimed at you.
Well, talking of old men, Mark, and food. One Manuel Fangio's got brilliant racing driver. Fangio is supposed to be a great restaurant. I'd love to taste their food. Can only be better than our catering today, but we'll get onto our catering today.
That's
good to see you again.
Yuri Jordan says, what a difficult day for some guys. And it seemed like it was, yeah.
And tomorrow's going to be even more difficult because the guys at the end have got 300 and something odd kilos to blast back to Hale or Bishu. The guys at the tail end have got a long day. Then into a hard day tomorrow and then into marathon, so it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah,
It's
no, for
tough.
sure. And
This is not for sissies.
yeah, and there were guys getting quite late, so yeah, sure, it's a bit of a tough one. I like those are the real warriors for me in Dakar. Is that the faster guys, they get through there in quicker time, but it's the guys that go on and on and on like warriors, just pounding it out there for hours and hours after the fact, using more energy that get to the end. Those guys, they have my respect, because that's a lot of hours out in the dunes and in the desert. Mike Lawrenson, Daniel's car is GTR engine.
No, it's a GTR
Yeah,
engine.
looks on you, eh? Let's have a look here. Bentley's in the house. He says he hope he hasn't missed anything. But I don't know what time this is coming through, but hopefully you did catch the interview with Terence, because that was quite proper, just giving us a bit of feedback from Dakar. Mohammed Chaudhry, what happened to So today?
I had a mechanical issue, and he lost a reasonable amount of time there. It's around about 45 minutes. But he came out in the first part. He was really quick. I think he was second at the first waypoint.
Okay.
But he's still in. He's in number 5.
Yeah, few people have echoed that sentiment there, just wanting to know what happened to him today. Johan Krobler, Henry, I don't know about my pronunciation. Chrono is a West Coast boykie from Vredenburg. Yeah, but Marburg, the SA guys are really making their mark already. Hopefully they keep it up.
7 cars, South African cars in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite phenomenal.
Even on the bike side, I mean, if you look at we didn't finish the results, but Branch third, like we said, Michael Doherty 6th and leading the Rally 2 group at this stage. So good for him. And then Bradley Cox 12th, and then Aaron Mayer had a good one today as well, like picking up the pace there, finishing 21st overall and 17th in the GP class. But the good thing is Dwayne Barnard, Willem Avenant, all in the breakpoint E, so everyone is there.
So that's the interesting thing. So 5, it's the same place, where you've got bikers and cars. And tomorrow morning, they've got to take turns, 30 seconds. A bike will go, and then a car will go, and a bike and a car, and a bike and a car, which should be quite cool. I'm looking forward to, I forget which stage it is, where they've got the mass start of everybody, of the bikes. I think that could be a whole lot of fun. More questions and answers?
No, we've hit this batch for now. So moving on. You've also got some interesting clips that you have to play. So let's dive into that, because I think that might spark a few more questions.
Let's go straight into our expert, and let's just go straight into our expert, who asked to come and talk to us about the torque meter.
There's actually one part on the current car which is exactly the same that came from that 2003 Nissan. So I think you might be surprised about that. It's one of the shafts that go from the gearbox to the front diff. At the time, when we built the current T1 Plus, or should we call it the IMA car, that was a shaft that we still had 6 or 8 in stock at the time. And I thought, let's try and use this and see how we go. And there was no need to change it. So,
always maximizing the budget.
And I should have woken. It went like this. In the beginning, when the fuels came up, I was very much for the torque meter. I thought the concept was good. We were not able to put the torque meter in the clutch shaft, which is where the FIA wanted it. So for initial test, we all decided it was going to go into the gearbox. Then all of this took much longer than we thought. By the time we'd tested it, it was probably too late, and it's in the wrong place. It should have been on the clutch shaft, but everything took longer than it should have done. And last year in the Dakar, we ran it for the first time. We looked at the data and the readings, gave it back to the FIA, and we could immediately see problems. There was as I predicted, to the guys in America who we had long discussions with, there was a lot of wind up. That is stored energy or potential energy in the drivetrain when the wheels come off the ground. And these drivers, you know, they leave their foot flat out on the floor. So when the cars land, there's all this stored potential energy which is released. And that plays havoc with the, not only with the torque meter, but the readings, both positive and negative. Because as the wheels hit the ground, the shafts wind up, then they've got to unwind. So you've got a negative torque going down the shafts. So the FIA worked really hard to try and mathematically remove this.
And you've now got all these different spikes that come in. FIA put some smoothing things in. Your rocket scientists who get very clever with computer work with all the rest of it, and you've got some debate again.
Yeah, so I think the debates are pretty, and I mean, from early year, I wasn't involved in a lot of those discussions with the FIA from mid-year on, shall we say, or just before then. But they'd committed to it and they had to fix it. So they took some clever mathematicians and engineers, worked around it, and they came up with what's called an algorithm, which is a nice word for a complicated formula to throw peak values away, but you always throw data away when you do that. But it seemed to make everybody pretty happy in Morocco, and that's what's been used in Dakar. So let's see how it goes.
Should we just leave the discussion and just focus on the racing from now on?
Yeah.
What happens, it's too late.
But the bottom line is, so I supported it in the beginning. Then when I saw the data, I didn't support it. And I wrote a whole paper to the FIA describing how I thought that all the vehicles should be monitored, which would be easy all over the world. And the paper was well received with a lot of, or a dossier, as it's called in French, was well received by a lot of the teams, but I was a little bit late.
That was part of an extended discussion that Glenn and I had before this show. Absolutely fascinating. That guy is, I can just sit and talk to him forever. We know we've got a truncated show. We're trying to keep to an hour this evening. We're nearly there. And we are going to put that whole interview unedited. We'll put it up and let you all know when it is up, because he talks about a lot of things. We go into the early days and some of the drivers he drove with, and then quite extensively in terms of the relationship and development of the cars. So I just want to read you some names that have wanted to drive and have driven for Glenn. The one Carlos Sainz didn't get to drive for him, but listen to these names: Colin McRae, Giniel de Villiers, Leroy Poulter, Christoph Hollowitz, Duncan Foss, Fernando Alonso, Ari Vatanen, Stefan Peter Hansel, and Nasser Al-Attiyah are some of the drivers who've wanted and have driven for Glenn Hall. Fascinating interview. When you get a chance, when we get a chance, we'll load it. It is well worth watching.
It's quite a resume of drivers, eh?
I mean, just look at that. Formula One driver.
Yeah.
How many world champions here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's proper. That's when you know you're at the top of your game, is when you've got all these guys.
And he still has very close relationships with, well, clearly not with Colin, but with all of them. Magic guy. Right, more questions and answers.
Yeah, Paulo de Cunha asked, do the technical team work on the car tonight, or must the driver and navigator?
Driver and co-driver. They have to use the tools and equipment that they or their comrades in the bivouac have. So they can swap tools, and typically what will happen, we had a clip on one of the pit stops, but it's a little bit late on that. When the dossiers came in, Nasser came in, had his stop first and bolted, and then Gutierrez came in. She waited for 10 or 15 minutes before Loeb came in, Loeb went out and she went after her. She went after him.
Yeah.
So she would be the parts carrier, the water carrier. Her car will be loaded to the hilt. Nasser's car will be pretty light, I would imagine. But there will be a combination of spares between them. Corners, drive shafts, and the other bits and pieces that they know break.
Yeah, I think if you the parts carrier, it's a little bit of a tough one because they've sort of sidelined you as the potential winner. Obviously, they feel things out in the beginning, but if you become that guy or that person, then you're sort of like the backup.
Yeah, but that's part of being being in the team.
Well, that's the thing is, it's at the end of the day, it is motorsport and it's down to a driver, but he's on top of the pyramid. There's a whole team working underneath, all for the same ultimate glory. So it is a team sport at the end of the day.
What do they say? Flows downhill?
Yeah, absolutely. Johan Grobler, quality guests. Thanks, Terence and Mr. Hall. Also, thank Colin, because you did good tonight. I'm impressed by you right now.
Jeez, blow that smoke, my boy.
Cass Kruger, love listening to Glenn Hall. So check out that when we upload the full interview with Uncle Colin over here. I think it's going to blow your hair back.
It's like 45, 46 minutes. It's well worth it.
And then we've got Ignace Duplessis, Laka Uncle Colin, thanks for the show. Johan de Bruin, what happened to Daniel?
We've discussed that.
Yeah, we have. He was a little late. And then we wait for the next batch to come in. So, Johan, just when you get a gap, everything is covered early on in the show because it's not like lost forever. You can go back and watch it on the Raceday page. So all the information is there on the results and everything that's happened so far today.
Yeah.
Sure. Other than that, what happens tomorrow, Colin? We are running out of time. Like I said, we're trying to keep it to an hour, but still a bit of racing left, eh? I mean,
the same thing we do every day, Pinky.
Bikes covered 617 kilometers today, so still about 300 odd left to still.
Let's have a look at the map.
Yeah, let's flip over to that if everyone's ready.
And if we check the map out there, the colors are the blues are the cars and the yellows are the bikes. And they're going to Bisha is in the bottom left-hand corner there. So basically they're going from the bottom right-hand, the top guys, from the bottom right-hand corner to the bottom left. Dan Schroeder will go from basically just above Bisha all the way around to, he's got a long day ahead of him, a really, really long day. And I know the crew will be anxious to get the car back and to find out what the story is. What went wrong on the car. So they do have to look after tires tomorrow. They will be refueled. The car will be refueled. The bodies will be refueled. The tires they will have worked out amongst the teammates who gets all the nice sweeties. Mm-hmm. From a Toyota point of view, for sure, Yazeed, Henk, Guy. They will definitely have choice of tires. And then it's a case of go fast. I've got a sneaky feeling that this is the time that Nasser wants to try and gap it. But Yazeed and Nasser, they may not be the best of friends. And there's a huge rivalry there. So Kuwait plays against Saudi Arabia. So Yazeed's on home ground. He wants to do proper. Fascinating stuff, but still, again, I couldn't help myself this morning. It was about 3.4 seconds after the first car started that I turned the results on. And I shouldn't have done it. I just got more and more frustrated because we have to wait.
We discussed this yesterday, Colin.
Yesterday I said, wait for an hour before you start getting excited about it, but I was like a little kid on Christmas Day. Tomorrow we have to work, so I will be a little bit clever with my time. And it's that just waiting for cars to come past, excuse me, getting an idea of who's where. We need a fixed point for the competitors to go past. And then we can say, right, at this point, this is starting to move out in the game. But the whole race will only start putting itself together marathon and next Sunday after Raceday on whenever the rest day is.
Yeah.
I've lost time.
Yeah, the rest will be on Friday. And also, like, one thing I've noticed as well is that most of the longer stages are now up front, but the last 2 days are short stages. So the guys, if they've got time to make up, they've got to make it up over a very short distance. So it makes it tricky. So it's win it or bin it at that stage. So we'll see how the race pans out. Yeah.
Well, let's see tomorrow night where we are. Let's see what we'll have some proper results. Today there was a mishmash of results that, like, you can't believe. From a timing point of view, and if I can get that frog out of my throat, I'll be so happy.
So we've got a few comments here. Peter Lombard says the Pistons weren't pissing. Johan Hitbrink says LATEGAN for the win. So we know where his allegiances lie. Johan De Bruin says, hello TJ, Stompy and Chari. Cole Presswood, good show guys, love South African racing slang, brings back good memories. And then Trevor Bland, my night off from spinning spanners here at Dakar 2025. Awesome show, keep it up.
Yeah, oh, thanks Trevor, and well done. Trevor Bland working with the Redlined team. Whole bunch of guys over there. Well done and congratulations on doing a good job so far. We know you've done a good job. You know, the fact that there are European teams who hire South African mechanicians as well is absolutely fantastic. And there are a whole lot of guys. We've got another couple of people we want to try and talk to there as well. The fact that they hire South Africans, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's a noble profession to be in.
Yeah, I think, like, if you look at Dakar right across the bivouac, and that South Africans have a great representation, but obviously people look at us as knowing our stuff, which is pretty cool, you know?
You know, yeah, and so we are very excited about Dakar, but there are a couple of other things that we, you know, from a South African rally raid cross-country point of view. We've got Off-Road North, which is the regional series, which I've really become very, very fond of. Lovely camaraderie, family atmosphere, great routes. It's a very pleasant event to be on. It's relatively accessible if you like that road past Potchefstroom out that way from Johannesburg. And then, of course, we've got the South African Rally Raid Championship, which we've got a round of the World Championship at Sun City this year. So that is going to be cool. Yeah, very cool. We will have, I think it's a big fill-up for the South African Championship. You'll see a lot more of the guys coming out to play. And all the cars that are entered in the Rally Raid World Championship will be there. So we'll see the Sand Riders, we'll see the Fords and all the other cool cars coming.
Nice for the guys to have a home race for a change.
Yeah, let them come here and get drilled by the Toyotas on home ground.
Absolutely. But yeah, so far I think that's everything here on the messages for now. But yeah, where do we go from here? Have you got any more surprises, Colin?
I can get if you like the idea of these shirts, we've got two versions, an English version and an Afrikaans version. I believe there is a difference. Our supplier is standing by. So if you think it's a cool idea, drop us a comment and we'll do it. I'm going to get on with our technical guys now, and hopefully we'll send out a message when we upload Glyn's interview. I hope it's still tonight because it really is worth watching. It's good Sunday evening entertainment. And then we can go and hit the work tomorrow, and we'll be back tomorrow with more of the same stuff.
Yeah, and actual final results of the Chrono stage. You know, everything now cast in stone. Obviously, you'll be pulling your hair out with all the changes and penalties, etc. But we'll leave that for tomorrow.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you very much to the technical guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for catering. You missed catering today?
I didn't, and I'll tell you why. Because I had a cold roll, but I'll score it.
No, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, what did you have on the roll? Did you have the chicken or the beef?
I had the beef, and nicely salted. I was quite impressed by that. The rolls were fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with.
Well, before you do that, the tomato relish.
So I missed that. So I was digging steak out of a packet. So.
Okay, and was it cooked well enough, medium rare?
Yeah, very chuffed with it. I'm quite impressed with that. So yeah, based on that fact, it is tough for me to give it a very high score because I didn't eat it cold, but that's on me. I will score it scintillating 7, as Barry Ronga would say.
A 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, I had mostly the chicken.
Okay.
Which I thought was very nice. It was well cooked. What do you call the dressing, gravy, whatever it is?
Yeah.
That was very, very nice. So the chicken society, it came sort of IKEA. Open the bun, put the society in, close the hand, rip the stick out, shove it down your neck.
I was going to ask you, did you have a plate?
No, well, okay,
Yeah.
so I'll have to give it a 7.14. But it would have scored it high if we had the plate and the serviettes.
100%. So, yeah.
So that was that. Anybody wants to come and improve on our food and join the food challenge, you're more than welcome to join us. We have, you just got to bring all the kit. We have
plates.
fire.
Yeah. Including plates and cutlery,
Anyway.
very important.
Right, so we've done the catering.
That's us, yeah.
Right, what are we going to do tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna
Same thing as
we're
we
gonna
do
have a
every
couple
day,
of surprise results. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, it's gonna
I
be an
think so
interesting
too.
day tomorrow for sure.
I think so too. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember, be nice, be kind, be happy. But most of all,
Finger guns out.